Good afternoon. I have been invited at this wonderful event to speak a little bit about performance. And when I was told the topic, I thought about what does performance mean from the Shaolin perspective. And actually, performance is something that in Shaolin we don't really think about very much. The reason is because performance is viewed as something that should happen naturally. Kind of like the harvest. You don't want to focus too much on the harvest. You rather focus on cultivating. And if you focus on cultivating gently, today you plow the soil, tomorrow you plant the seeds, the following day you water, and so on, naturally the harvest will happen, all by itself, kind of like magic. And you will enjoy the journey of cultivating without having to worry about the harvest. That's an automatic result. But if we focus only on the harvest, I must have trees full of fruit. I must have trees full of fruit. Well, two things will happen. At best, you will really not enjoy cultivating, and you will just enjoy in spring when the harvest finally happens. And at worst, you will get no harvest. You've spent your time sitting on the porch wishing you had a harvest. So performance in Shaolin is viewed in the same way. It's viewed as not a destination, but as a consequence of a journey that you travel. And so the focus should be on this cultivation process, which will naturally lead us to perform. So the moment we embrace performance in this way, then the next question is, well, what should I cultivate to get my performance up? And well, in Shaolin terms, we talk about cultivating your personal ecosystem, which is made up of three components: the body, the mind, and the spirit. And well, the body is pretty self-explanatory. It's a kind of vehicle that transports us through the journey of life. So the better it works, the further we go. Simple as that. The mind, well, it's the rational part of who we are. It's the cognitive processes. And well, we all know that the sharper and more focused and more clear our mind is, the better we perform. The spirit is something a little bit more intangible. It goes beyond our rational mind. You can use other words for it as well. But we all know that there is something beyond the rational. So, for example, when you fall in love, you don't fall in love with your rational mind. There is something else that happens. And we also know that this emotive side of ourselves, if this is feeling great, we automatically will feel better and perform better. If this is not feeling so good, if we have some kind of anxiety or sadness or whatever, our overall performance will suffer. So, performance derives from cultivating these three treasures: body, mind, and spirit. And from this comes a first, in my opinion, quite profound realization. Because everything we do, think, say, breathe, eat, drink, will somehow impact this ecosystem and therefore will impact our performance. And don't think of the big things. We are trained to always think about the big things, but think of the little things. Imagine you get up in the morning and you complain because your alarm went off and you wish you could stay in bed a little while longer. And this little complaint is a little bit of negativity in your mind. And then you're in the traffic and you get stressed about the traffic and it's a little bit of negativity in your mind. And then when you get at the office, something wasn't done as you wished and it's a little bit of negativity in your mind. And so on and so forth throughout the whole day. And then add to that perhaps some physical behaviors that you engage in, which are not so optimal to your body feeling 100%. And then add to it your spiritual life, which you might not be taking such good care of. And when you add all of these little things, all of a sudden the cup is quite full. And all of a sudden your performance is quite low. So I would like you to do a little exercise. I would like you to take 10 seconds and imagine yourself on a scale from 0 to 10, where at 10, your ecosystem is feeling fantastic. So your body, mind, and spirit is feeling great. You feel physically strong, you feel mentally sharp, you feel emotionally quiet. Everything is great. And at 0, it's obviously the exact opposite. You are physically drained, you're emotionally drained, and you're mentally drained. So picture yourself on your average day, not the best day of the year, the day in which you're on vacation in a beautiful place or something, not the worst day of the year when you have the flu and you have to go to the office and whatever else. But think of yourself on your average day. Wednesday morning, you get up and you begin your normal day. How do you really feel? How does your ecosystem feel? Body, mind, and spirit. So take 10 seconds and think about it. So, our time together is limited, so I will not make a show of hands, who is 1 and who is 2 and who is 3. But I think I know, because I've asked this question to many, many people around the world in many, many different contexts, that a good 70% of the people in this room will be somewhere between 4 and 7, so on the average. Very, very few people will be 8, 9, and 10, and a few people will be below 4. So your average day, you're somewhere between 5, 6, 7. And in your journey of performance, that should be a big shock, because this means that you're going through the majority of your life as a 6. And that means that you are getting 6 out of yourself in everything you do. You're a 6 sports person, a 6 father, a 6 mother, a 6 friend, a 6 professor, a 6 manager, a 6, and so on and so forth. And you are giving 6 of yourself to everybody that comes in contact with you. So your performance is really quite poor. Now imagine how better you would perform and how much more enjoyment you will get out of your life and how much more enjoyment you would give to the people that interact with you if you could be every day at 10. Or let's not be utopic. Every day an 8. From 6 to 8 is a big percentage jump. And you know, people start then thinking, oh yeah, why am I a 6? And I'm a 6 because of this and that, and I could if I could, and I should. And really we make a whole lot of excuses. Because in reality, as we've already seen before, it's the little things that make the big difference. Because a lot of little things add up to a big result. So if one little behavior brings me from 9 to 8.7, and the next one from 8.7 to 8.5, and so on and so forth, that's how I get to 6. It's not a big change. It's not a drastic change that's necessary. So the moment we realize that we need to work on this ecosystem, well, we need to work out what are the things that bring me down this scale that I need to get rid of, little behaviors, habits, whatever, and what are the things that can bring me up this scale, things that I need to add more, things that I don't do enough of, things that my body, mind, and spirit need. And well, these things will be different for each one of you. So each one of you will have to do a kind of self-assessment process of what are the things draining from my performance and what are the things that could boost it that I don't do enough. But there is a problem with this exercise, which is a problem of clarity. We lack clarity often. And that is because our minds is a little bit like a glass of water that you could take from Lugano Lake. So if you go down to the lake and you take a glass of water and you keep on agitating this water, and you agitate it and you agitate it, all day long you're agitating this water, what will happen is that there'll be sediments all over this water. And if you try to look through it, you cannot. The water will be murky. But if you put the same glass of water down and you let it sit there for a while, slowly these sediments will go to the bottom. And now, like magic, the glass is clear. I can see clearly through it. So our mind is a little bit like that glass of water. From when we get up in the morning to when we go to bed at night, we are full of thoughts. We are constantly thinking. And this prevents us from developing any clarity. And so the first thing we need to do to improve our performance is to find this clarity. And it is not the purpose of this speech to talk about how to. There are many techniques, there are many methods, there are many ways. But without that clarity, you cannot take the first step. into taking care of the ecosystem how it really needs. And without taking care of it, you will continue getting 6 out of your life instead of getting 9, and giving 6 out of yourself instead of giving 9, giving 10. So what happens when we start moving up the scale and we go from 6 to 7 to 8 and so on? Well, several steps are taken, and there are several things that we do that become natural and become part of our normal living process. And the first one is that we start focusing more in the present, because the present is where life is happening. The present is where performance is happening. The present is where the cultivation is happening. But we often spend a good size of our day living in the past or living in the future, whilst now it's where I harness the lessons and the experiences of the past. Now it's where I build the steps for the future. And the second thing that begins to happen is that I embrace change as an ally of performance rather than resist it. We are all naturally resistant to change. We are scared of the unknown. Yet it's a kind of paradox, because as I'm speaking here, everything is changing. Every molecule in our bodies, every particle of this building, you can't see it because it's minute. But if nobody touched this building for the next 2,000 years, it will look very different. And that change is happening right now. And so by embracing change and focusing on the present, that's where we harness our growing performance potential. And the last thing that we do through these two methods is we begin to do everything you do with all our heart, with all our energy. So we are often thinking about the meeting whilst we're eating, and thinking about the email whilst we're in the meeting, and thinking about what we have to do at home whilst we're doing the email, and we are never there. So even if our performance is 7 or 8 or whatever, we're only giving a tiny slither of that performance to the task at hand because we are too busy somewhere else. So the third magical thing that happens is that we put all of our heart in what we do. And we no longer think about doing great things, because great things imply not being in the present. We think about doing little things, little steps, but with great love, with great energy. And from that energy and that love comes the true performance. It comes lasting, well performance and not unhealthy performance. So I thank you very much for being here with me for these 15 minutes with all your heart and all your energy. And I wish you all the best for your journey and your performance. Omika.